of all, if you could all rise and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. So tonight we're here for our annual town meeting. One thing that's unique to the township form of government, where we actually have a meeting once a year, which is actually your meeting of the electors instead of the meeting of the Board of Trustees. So the first thing we're going to do tonight is we're going to elect a moderator. You should have all picked up a packet up here in the front, and we would ask you all to sign in, and you would get a little wristband. So when a few things we vote on, we'll just vote by show of hands. So, and I did notice from before, we do have a quorum tonight, so we can go ahead with the meeting. So the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna elect a moderator. That's one of you guys to run the meeting. Then I can go back to taking minutes as usual.
Can I nominate Scott Rahal?
Yes, we have a nomination from Mr. Sewell for Scott Rahal. Do we have any other nominations?
No, but I'll second that.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else? All right, all in favor of electing Scott Rahal as a moderator, please raise your hand. Anybody opposed? Scott Rahal, that's not allowed. All right, so Mr. Rahal, I'm going to turn the meeting over to you.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for being here.
Good evening.
This is one of the few where we have local government where the actual electors get to actually have a say. This is your meeting, but I will say a couple things. I ran planning commission meetings for a few years for the city of Collinsville. So as chair, I did have a few rules. So I'm going to try to help that in order to help us streamline and hopefully keep the meeting going on point, and also make sure that we maintain proper decorum. So just do me a favor. If you wish to speak, raise your hand. It may take me a minute to find you. Then let me find you. Let me let the clerk know so we can get you in the minutes, and we can go from there. Same thing, we'll go for motions.
Let me swear you in.
Okay, swear me in.
Repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
the duties of moderator at this town meeting
the duties of moderator of this town meeting
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You're on.
All right, so with that, let's get started. Generally, I did do a little research, so we basically follow the agenda. But you can, when we reach that agenda item, speak to items in regards to that agenda. So the very first thing up there will be the approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. I would entertain a motion for approval of the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, do you have that, Jim? Do I have a second? I have a second. Looks like Mike back there. Any discussion regarding the minutes? Any questions? All those in favor signify by raising your left or right hand with your little thing on there.
Oh, I don't.
And do you need to get a count, or are you comfortable with the majority? Okay. You can lower your hands. Anyone opposed? Looks like that motion carries. All right. The next one will be a motion for the acceptance of the township financial statement. Do I have a motion for that?
I'll make a motion to accept.
I have a motion. We can do discussion. I just got to get the motion on the floor before we can discuss it.
I'll second.
And second, Belinda. All right, any discussion, any questions? Or do you wish to provide a summary? of any
I
type?
can briefly.
Okay.
First of all, I'd like to thank Supervisor Cox. He had like 3 days to get this thing done. Especially with this meeting being so early in the month, because it's essentially an unaudited version of what we get from our auditor in September. The auditor gets 6 months to work on it. Supervisor Cox had from Wednesday until Friday to get it done. So, but it's basically a summary of how much money we had at the beginning of the year per each account, how much money was spent, how much money was collected, and therefore how we would have ended the year. And then we've also added in there a note on how many tax dollars were levied in those funds. But like I say, it's a kind of a quick 100,000-foot overview of the township finances, and like I say, you will see an audited version of this in about 6 months. So, assuming there's no questions, I'm going to turn it back over to you. Take a vote on it.
And keep in mind, they do vote and discuss the bills at every meeting of the trustees each month. So you can also glean a lot of information from that as well, and it's on the website. So with that, any other additional discussion or questions? All right, seeing none, I guess we'll go to a vote. All those in favor signify by raising your hand with your little thing on it.
I think my social security funds are on.
Oh,
I think I
any
collected
discussion?
more than $5,000.
I just went by the numbers that Jen gave me, but
All right,
I can
let's
look at
hold off. Apparently we have some discussion in the midst of the vote. So Kathy, do you have a correction?
I don't have it with me. Yeah,
Oh, you mean,
receipt for my,
Social Security and Medicare?
yeah.
town social, no, not
I
town,
think I
road and
received
bridge.
50,000.
Hold on one second.
I think it's 50,000 rather than 5,000?
Hold on, it's a road. and
Maybe we have a
bridge.
zero.
I have the order, let's see, on a road and bridge, okay, right here.
'Cause I haven't changed that fund, so whatever I collected last year.
Probably my error. and I don't-
Okay, well, we can change
adjust
that
it.
afterwards.
Okay, just so you are aware, it's probably about $50,000 more dollars.
Technically, to do this correctly, I can accept the friendly amendment to the motion to accept to include that one change,
Correction.
or that one correction, and if I can get your second on that, then we can go ahead and approve the report with the correction that has been noted. Do we have anything else before I do that again? So twice we've jumped the gun already tonight. Not too bad so far, but hopefully I get better. Say, all right, all those in favor with the correction, signify by raising your green. Jim, you comfortable with your vote?
Yeah.
You can go ahead and lower them. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, so then the next one will be the approval of the resolution opposing township consolidation. And I know, Jim, you definitely want to talk on this one.
Yeah.
So, this is really nothing new in township government, but there are a number of people, and there have been for many, many years, that feel like township government is a duplication of other forms of government, and they would like to see it go away. And this has been fought numerous times by the organization, the professional organization that supports us, the township officials of Illinois. And it is ongoing again in 2025. And there are two Senate bills right now that are on the floor of the Illinois legislature. And in addition, our governor, in his budget proposal, hidden somewhere, I think on page 32 of his many 100-page budget proposal, is also buried in there, a plan to eliminate some townships. Now, it wouldn't affect us immediately because the numbers are floating around there. It's basically, some of the bills are talking about counties of residents of less than 5,000, which, believe it or not, we actually have counties in the state of Illinois that have that few people. And some are closer, the numbers are more like 50,000. So again, we're in Madison County, which has a population somewhere between 250 and 300,000. So in the short term, this really has no effect on Collinsville Township if this were to become law in the state of Illinois. However, it's kind of like bowling, once one pin falls, it hits another pin, and hits another pin, and it eventually could lead to the possible elimination of township government. And which, the way it's presented today, it would be consolidation into county government. So for example, all the roads that Kathy maintains and all the other townships within Madison County maintained would then have to be maintained by the county. Same thing, this facility would either be run by the county or potentially turned over to the city, but township government potentially in the long run in Collinsville could, as we know it today, could go away. So the township officials of Illinois asked us as a board to pass a resolution opposing this legislation, which we did at our last meeting. And they also asked us to bring this also to you guys, to the electors, and at our annual town meeting, and have the electors also pass a resolution opposing consolidation of township government into county government. And that's essentially what we have proposed to you to pass tonight, is essentially a document which we'll share with TOI that says, hey, we, the electors of Collinsville Township, do not think that it's a good idea to consolidate township government as it exists today into county government. And so that's kind of the quick thing. I will post something on our website, though, that would give you some direction on how you can help out, how you can write to your senators or your legislators to oppose this, to help TOI in their battle against this legislation. All right, Scott, back to you. Did anybody have any questions on that? I tried to make it as brief as possible.
I wouldn't mind making a comment on it. That's actually one reason that I got involved with township, because a lot of people, I live in the village of Maryville, and I know a lot of you live in the city or village of Collinsville or village of Maryville. And, you know, we're always saying, well, what do we get for the township? What do we pay the taxes, but we're not getting the same amount of services, right? So I wanted to make sure that, because this stuff that we're talking about is out of our hands. This is the state that decides it. So I wanted to make sure that we did our very best to give back to city residents as well. Our roads department does a fabulous job that we all use coming in and out of the city or the village of Maryville, all right? So that was one of our goals as a board. We added services like leaf and limb pickup for the city residents of Collinsville. That's free now that they get that. We also, again, one big thing that I take pride in is this senior center. Anybody from the Collinsville or Maryville can come to this senior center. They get a meal for just $4, and if they can't afford it, it's free. And there's all kinds of different services that we provide in here. We were the only local government to lower your property taxes. All right, so I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows I'm not saying that I'm always opposed to smaller government, all right, and not duplicating, but I'm here to do the best job in this seat for the township, and if that makes sense.
I'd like to, go ahead. What's the county's spin on it?
I can answer that.
So the county has, what do they call them? Trustees, commissioners. They also have an organization, a professional organization, and they're working hand in hand with TOI in opposition to this legislation. Believe me, Madison County, I think Kathy said Madison County would inherit
Over 700 miles of road.
right. Close to 800 miles of roads. Madison County does not want 800 more miles of road.
They take care of close to 200 right now.
So, and the thing about this, the governor who's pushing this, he's pushing this as a cost savings. But those roads still have to be maintained by somebody, whether Kathy does it or whether they do it out of Edwardsville. Somebody still has to do it. So equipment has to be bought, people have to be hired. So might it save some money? Maybe. Would the people who currently, would you get the same level of services? Probably not. I attended a meeting on one of the comments one of the road commissioners made, and it's very true. I can tell you that I drive Keebler every day, and you can tell when we have a snowstorm what part of Keebler is maintained by the city of Collinsville, what part's maintained by the village of Maryville, and what part is maintained by Collinsville Township. It's very easy to tell that. And so, but no, to answer your question, the counties are not buying this either.
one of the other things, Chuck, well, there were some case studies done already, and they're negative, the impact's negative, right? They're not getting the services quality that they were, and it's costing them more. And that's even at the low levels.
Anyone else? Hands raised?
Can I say something real quick? Because I am in the township and some of my property around me is in the city. My road was township when I moved there. Great, thank you guys. I miss you. I've had to call the city twice because somehow the houses across the street are city, so that road, now my road now is partly city. They clean that off like you wouldn't believe. My side, nothing. I don't get it. I miss those guys. When they were doing the Lester, I know they do part of it, and you should see them out there working. They're constantly, I've had to call the city twice, the streets, because I can't even get out of my driveway, since they took over. I'm just giving you guys some credit since we're talking about the city. I mean the township, because I love them, and I miss them. I really do. Like Jim said, you can tell the difference.
Did you get her for your record?
I did.
See,
Okay.
he knows who I am.
Looks like Brad had raised his hand.
I know.
One thing I want to speak about this whole township consolidation thing is when the state was originally platted, it was platted into the state, then counties, then townships. And when people talk about layers of government, the township government is one of the original layers. It's not something added later. Now, another thing, if the governor is talking about saving money, I can tell you, he might save Kathy's salary. I don't remember to the penny, so I said 60,000, just close. And, what do we spend in a year on your department? A little over $1 million, you know, 60 divided by 1. No, it's 1,000. 0.45%. 4.5% of our spending would go down. But I can tell you this much, if they're gonna have all those trucks come from the county shed down here to Collinsville shed, or our area, they're gonna spend her money in gas driving back and forth. So they're not gonna save any money. So if anybody thinks this is a good idea, I just hope you'll consider that factor alone. And then the truth of it probably is if the county did have control of it, they're gonna operate out of our shed. They're not gonna drive them trucks. They're not gonna save any, we're gonna save the salary of one, that's it. That's all we're gonna save. We're not gonna save any big amount of money. And I like the way things are right now, and I'll vote for Kathy again.
I just have one thing to add to that. One of the biggest points that they made was these cuts and what's being presented to the legislators are based on the 3 cores of township government. So GA, assessors, and roads and bridge. They're not taking into consideration any of the special services like senior centers. Some townships maintain cemeteries. Some have their own fire departments. So that's getting lost in the legislation and part of the charter that they're asking us to take forward to make sure that everyone understands, our legislators understand that these other services are buried in there.
Good point.
Anyone else? All right, I'll just say one thing, not as a moderator, but as a citizen. Just keep in mind, again, the original form of government, and understand the access that you have in order to talk to your trustees, your highway commissioner, your assessor here, as opposed to having to deal with it in a much larger organization like the county. So that's one thing that we would also lose would be access. So,
Do we need a motion?
I think the motion's out there. This was just a discussion section. What we did not, then I guess I'll ask for one. Can I get a motion to
I'll make a
approve
motion
the
to,
resolution opposing township consolidation?
I will make a motion.
I quickly have went in and I've got Steve in the back, or did you have a comment? No. Okay, that's Steve in the back. All right, everyone to to approve, signify by raising your green wristband. All right, lower your wristband. Anyone opposed? Same time. Jim, I think you have the vote. We'll go on to the next item. All right. So the next item on the agenda is the Township Assessor's Report, and it is in your packet. So, him not being here, he won't be able to expound on that. We'd have to take any questions or address them at a future meeting, but we'll try to do what we can with it. It's there, take a review. With that, we'll do a motion to approve that by anyone who'd be so inclined. Anyone? Oh, you don't have to have a motion to approve these? Okay. All right, that's just for your information. And no topic or conversation, we'll move on to the next item. All right. That was my last attached item. So I guess the next one will be our Township Road Commissioners Report. So I will yield to Kathy on that one.
I don't have an official report. We turn in reports every week or every month when we have our meetings as to what we've done that month. So I didn't just duplicate it for tonight's meeting, but I just want to thank everybody that I work with. I've gotten along with everybody great. Everybody, does a good job. My employees, I can't say enough about them because they're the ones that make me look good. So I appreciate them. Our employees have been there. The latest one, I think he's been there 18 or 19 years we have not had anybody leave since then. So that's a good testament as to what we do down there, but also what they do out on the roads, because I can send them and I don't have to tell them what to do. They already know what to do, which is a nice thing. The other thing is, as far as what we've got going on, I talked to the engineer today about the Lebanon Road project. Originally, I think it was supposed to be done in November, but due to the fact that we're having problems with the railroad coordinating with them, and they have to have flaggers out on the job when they do some of these projects, and it's hard to coordinate with them to get them out on the job, so it's pushing things way back. I know that there's been complaints and problems out there. I'm very proactive. I'm out there driving the roads. I know what's going on out there. Lebanon Road has been not the best road since I can remember, 40 years. I've been around doing this, so there are areas that the road's low, and there's not a whole lot that can be done about it. We've tried several different things, had engineers out there, so we're quite aware of what goes on out there, and this project alone has not caused a lot of the issues that are there, so I want to make that clear to everyone. Also too, this year we have some projects going on where we'll be paving some more roads. We're trying to get away less and less of oil and chipping. It's not good for people's tires. It's, on the long roads, unfortunately, I do not have the funds to go out and pave Lebanon Road and Mulberry and that. I'm trying to get some funding when they complete Lebanon to, possibly get up to that point paved, but I'm working on that right now. Other than that, if you ever have complaints, please call us. If you don't know who to call about an issue, call us. We'll try to get you to the right people. That's what we're there for. I'm a public servant, and that's what I take that very seriously. I don't take it lightly. And, so I am there if you need my help. Please call our office. We're, there 7 to 3, Monday through Friday. And, like I said, Jennifer's real good at, some of the calls we get, yesterday she was helping a lady find a plumber. So, we get calls that are nothing to do with what we do, but we just want you to know that, you know, if you have any issues out there, if you see anything, if you have any questions, please just give us a call and we'll be happy to try to address those issues for you. And if we don't know the answer, we'll try to get you to somebody that will. So I appreciate, working with the group of people I've worked with, and I look forward to the new people I'll be working with, I guess next month. So, I just wanna thank you all for coming tonight, and, if you have any questions for me right now, I'll be glad to take them. So I guess that's all.
You
Oh,
got one, did you address the roundabout off of Keebler? north of Keebler?
well, that's not mine, that would be Village of Maryville, but from what I understand, they're getting the funding to do that, is what I've been told. Whether that's gonna happen, for 100% sure, I do not know. I'm supposed to have lunch with them. And, go ahead.
Who do I complain to get a light in 162, both directions?
That's the state of Illinois. Yeah,
You can talk to Scott about that one.
yeah,
Yeah, you probably talked about the Maryville one too, after the meeting.
yeah. Jeannie had one?
Yeah, who's doing the major part of the funding of the Lebanon Road project?
Illinois Commerce Commission.
Okay. How much is, the township?
The only thing that we were responsible for was we did the purchasing of the easements and the properties that we had to pay for, and that was all done out of, MFT money.
What's NFT?
Motor fuel tax that you collect from the state. So as far as, I've been told, we will not be putting out any more money for it than what we originally put out, which I don't know the exact figure off the top of my head, that's been a couple years ago, but I believe it was about, I wanna say around 500,000 for those purchases.
How come they didn't, shore up the trestles instead of doing this huge?
It's all to do with the railroad.
Project,
The railroad would not let anything be done.
to those trestles?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it all goes around, it's the railroad that's been the issue, the whole time, so.
It seems like such a huge project when, you look at the trestles and it's like, I get it if you
I agree.
if you can't work together with them. But
Yeah, they're very hard to work with, and, anybody that's worked with them, I'm sure in the city, wherever, it's challenging. But they would not, we tried to do something that route first, they wouldn't have anything to do with it. They don't want anything to do with this project either, but, like I said, it was something that the county put together back in 2010. And, I guess the Illinois Commerce Commission thinks it's important enough to do it. There's a lot of flooding in that area that will no longer, you won't have that problem because, a lot of that's gonna be closed off. That road will not be, available to the public anymore. So, you'll be going either up over the bridge or there'll be another way to get to Lockman Road.
I feel sorry for at least one person I know personally that just his property was ravaged.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, and we've had many conversations, and I understand, his point. We're trying to help him as much as we can. And once the project's complete, then we'll be able to help him more, just till it gets to that point. But, yes?
When we lived out there, they told us the fire trucks couldn't get under the trestles.
Yeah.
School buses couldn't get it. The kids had to walk down the road, Lockman Road to get school buses. So
Yeah.
we couldn't get a fire truck, couldn't get, emergency stuff out there. So
Yeah,
it is
well,
a
like I
problem.
said, I don't think the state would have, if they felt like it wasn't an important project, they wouldn't have put the money into it that they're putting into it, because I think it's around 18 million. So, yes,
Kathy, it's refreshing to hear that you're at work 5 days a week from 7 to 3. And it's nice to hear, and you're doing a great job.
well, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. And my hours aren't always 7 to 3, let me tell you. When it snows, it's all night. When it's raining, I'm out driving the roads to look at problems that I know that occur. And unfortunately, there's problems that we can do nothing about either, because a lot of areas have these natural drainages that were built years ago. They didn't look at, oh, if the house is built down in this area here, they're gonna have problems with the water. And, you know, a lot of it is the low part of the area, that's where natural drains are. And unfortunately, we have no easement on those yards to do anything. So, you know, people have problems, but, you know, unfortunately, I can make suggestions to them, but I cannot pay to do anything or to work on their property. So, is there anything else? All right, well, thank you.
Thanks, Kathy.
Yeah, Jeannie, you and I can talk as well. There's some information that I'm aware of that I can't disclose publicly as a form as a representative, but you have to work right on, and I'm aware of some of the issues you're talking about. So, all right. With that, I guess we will move on to comments by township trustees. Do you want to start on the far end and work our way in, or?
If they have one.
So,
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone for your participation tonight, coming out. The annual town meeting, we see the crowd larger and larger each year, and it's refreshing to see everyone's interest in local government. And I would just encourage everyone again to pay some serious attention to this legislation. It's buried in the budget narrative, and that budget is going to be approved, you know, late in the evening, right before Memorial Day. It's not going to get the presentation time or the understanding that it needs. So we need to have those conversations with our local legislators to make sure that they're aware of the implications.
And then same thing, just want to thank everyone for attending and paying attention to what's happening at the township. It's been a great 4 years serving here. It's been such a learning experience. Again, a lot of people are like, what do townships even do? So then you start to dig into what do we do, what do other townships do. It's been a really big learning experience. So thanks for everyone for being here. And I also could not do it without the staff. Staff in every department, we run as efficiently as we do because of our staff. So kudos to our staff.
Brad, your
Well,
turn.
I'm grateful everybody showed up to vote, show up for all of this and support everything that goes on. I think we've got Collinsville Township. I'm not trying to claim glory because they were here for the last 4 years too. And I think we've done a pretty good job. And I hope that it continues for the next 4 years and beyond.
Thank you, Brad. All right, those are our trustees. So the next one would be the township supervisor's report. So Derek, I'll defer to you.
All right, my speech is not half as long as it was last year. But yeah, I just want to say, again, just like the trustees said and everybody, thank you guys so much for being here. It's kind of a weird meeting because this doesn't really happen at like city level and county level. So I kind of like it that you guys have the opportunity at least to voice your opinion. And you never know what you're going to get with that, but I appreciate you guys being here so much. With that, I'm going to stay very positive, but I also want to we have to address the elephant in the room before we move on to make things great. And I just want to say I'm delighted to have been reelected to serve our great community, and I'm excited for this new beginning. This election cycle was filled with unwarranted negativity and falsehoods that used to create public controversies and uncertainty. Before this nasty election, the public had witnessed a complete positive turnaround of the township from 4 years ago. Everything from added services like the Volkswagen bus obtained for just $1, free leaf and limb pickup, to being the only local government to lower your taxes, grant-funded solar panels on our buildings, to being totally involved now with community hosting huge events like the Empty Bowl that has raised over $50,000 in the last 4 years for our food pantry. Of course, this huge and complete transformation of the senior center. It has made such a positive impact on many lives, and I know a lot of people that are here today. And so I'm very proud of that. And at many organizations, any one of these, maybe one, maybe two accomplishments would have been a big deal and celebrated. Somehow, all these successes were overshadowed by the last-minute accusations of theft and withholding documents to several other complete falsehoods that have been completely rejected by the auditor, and our legal team is completely without merit. These were followed up by character assassinations that were directed towards myself and the history of the township's success. And I want to say on the staff, and I want to thank the staff because they've been through a lot, and they could not wait until April the 2nd, you know, and I'm sorry that they had to go through all this. I'm sorry the public had to go through all this. It was not needed. But the staff has done a great job handling FOIA after FOIA after FOIA, and I know we got more today. So anyway, I want to thank you guys. Those who are responsible for this type of behavior have now been rejected and voted out of office. They forgot their oath of office, what it was for. If all the trustees over the last few months had understood working together to fix any problem they may have seen, and what they pledged to the community, we would have gotten so much more great done. I could spend time on addressing each and every fabrication that has harmed the township, but I think that the public is interested. I don't think the public is interested in that anymore. I do ask anyone who has concerns about something that they may have heard or read about, contact me directly, all right? I'll always give you the facts. We are now excited and looking forward to a much more enthusiastic, eager, and cohesive team that was provided by the election from the voters. Moving forward, these are going to be exciting times. I'm excited to obtain more grants than even before. I'm excited to do our part to clean up this end of Main Street. I have a meeting with the mayor and city manager next week. I'm excited to expand cost-cutting measures at the township that will save taxpayers even more money. I, of course, am excited about all the community involvement that will be occurring that impact us all. I want to wish Trustee Gunther and Stewart good luck in your future. As you leave the board, I bought a cake, all right? And I wish we want to cut it in between the meetings so we can all have a piece, all right? I personally want to thank the entire community for believing in me, looking past all the junk on social media and voting for what you have seen with your own eyes. I'm excited for this opportunity with the new board that begins in May's help. We will make the township better than it's ever been. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, and we're now between meeting and cake, so keep going. Motion to hold the next annual township meeting on Tuesday, April 14th of 2026.
I make that motion that we hold the next meeting on April 14th.
I got Brad for a motion. I've got a gentleman back here with his hand up with a second, I would believe. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your green wristband. Gotta count. You good?
Good.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. So then I have request for a motion to adjourn.
Motion we adjourn?
Second.
Let me get these two over here.
Don't close the meeting.
Wait, then he's got something to say.
Oh, you wanna say something real quick?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I want to know where the $1.8 million is. That's all I've been hearing about, that somebody stole $1.8 million. And I'd like the board, or whoever's in charge up there, to tell me where it's at.
Yeah,
Or who took
we
it.
can address that actually the next meeting. We got a meeting right after this one.
Yeah, that would be appropriately addressed at the next
Tonight?
meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, any final comment before we take the motion?
I want to thank Derek for doing such a wonderful job at the senior center. I love this place. Thank you. And your staff. They're wonderful.
Awesome, but I still need a motion.
Second. A
All
second.
right, we got the motion. I'll take a second over there for Linda. All those in favor by raising your hand appropriately? All those opposed, lower opposed? let us eat cake.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank everyone for coming tonight.
Let them eat cake.
You can leave or you can.